aren't you so grateful that God sees all of our deformities, that God sees all of our miscues, that God, am I talking to myself?
No.
And God says, regardless of your deformity, I still can work with that.
Yes.
Matter of fact, I love it because God shows his love for humanity in that when God is on the scene, God doesn't just deal, watch this, with a symptom. God actually deals with a system.
Right.
Matter of fact, God will use your symptom to actually deal with the system. Am I losing anybody? As God's people, we need to understand that it's one thing to show people our good hand, but it's a whole different ball game when we are courageous enough, my brothers and sisters, to show Jesus the bad hand.
Amen.
The world has taught us a lot about poker faces.
Yeah.
I know Lady Gaga sang a song called The Poker Face. And even in poker, you know, they teach you or they condition you to come to the table and not show people your hand. They condition you to actually come to the table to intentionally try to deceive those that you're getting over. But how many know God is not a game of poker? He's not at the table looking for us to try to deceive him or even have a poker face. I'm sorry, let me get back to what's reality, or even having the church face. Praise the Lord.
Come on now. Come on.
God bless you. The Lord is good all the time, and all the time, God is good. But how many know the reality is that when we leave on a Sunday morning, it's really that Wednesday, or it's really that Monday hand that God want to deal with.
Amen.
It's the Tuesday hand that God want to deal with. I was like, God, I don't know if I can preach this because God, I done made a whole lot of mistakes. I mean, God, I'm supposed to be your preacher, and I made mistakes. And guess this, I keep making some mistakes. And I said, God, how am I going to bring this to your people? He says, no. I need you to be broken and flawed, because your brokenness and your flawed is where I get the glory. When you bring me the bad. So here's this man in the synagogue, and he's sitting in there, my brother, and I can imagine, let me just get to the story because it's so good, but he's sitting in the synagogue, and now they say, who's in the crowd? And somebody said, well, there's a man in the crowd with a withered hand. And the man in the crowd with the withered hand. Now it's interesting because Jesus was one of the most important people of the time at the time. So I would have thought that they said there was a man in the crowd with a check for $1 million. There was a man in the crowd with some statue. But oftentimes, Jesus, watch this, will use our deformities or our dysfunctions to show the system just how powerful he is in our life. Now, that seems a little cruel, Josephine, for Jesus to bring that dude out of the doggone crowd and say, I need you to come up here and present your hand.
Right.
I mean, I could just see his nervousness, Brother Jeff, and say, wait a minute.
In front of all these people.
In front of all these people, you want me to present my hand? Now, I can also see him thinking, okay, you know what? What's safe is for me to go ahead and present
The good hand.
the good hand. You know, because it's interesting to find out that he had one withered hand. He didn't have two withered hands. What that meant is that it's easy for him to show the good one and
Hide the bad.
kind of like what we do at church. We love to
Yeah.
oh, ain't nobody talking to me right now.
Yeah.
You know, because on Sunday morning, we show people the
Good hand.
but on Monday,
Right.
oh my goodness. And God didn't come to speak to us for our Sunday morning hand.
Hallelujah.
When we take the courage to say, God, I'm not going to just show you my good hand. God says, I already know what's good about you.
Right.
I need you to have some courage to show me the bad hand. And then I love, he said, stretch out that hand. In other words, watch this. If you are willing to do what you don't think you can do, I'll anoint you to do what I want you to do.
Right. Hallelujah.
God, I don't think that I can tell these people as a preacher that I was an alcoholic.
Right.
I don't think I could tell you, you know, because these people look at me crazy when I say I used to love to smoke weed.
Right.
They'll look at me crazy. And God said, no. I need you to take courage because watch this. God gave us a list of things. In Romans chapter 8, verse 35, Paul reminds us of, watch this, a list of things that can never separate us.
Yeah. That's good.
That can never separate us
Never.
from the love of God.
Ooh.
Who gonna separate me from the love of God? And then he goes on to say, shall pestilence,
Distress.
can distress,
Nope.
can tribulation.
Nope.
I love it. He puts the laundry list up there. He said, watch this, and let's just get ghetto. He said, can't nothing separate me, watch this, from the love of God.
Right.
Meaning, watch this, God loved me when he knew I had a bad hand.
Right. Right.
Matter of fact, God created you with a
Bad. Jesus.
so that when you, watch this, when you and I, watch this, be really honest.
Come on now.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's a foreign concept in church. We don't want that because, you know, we go to church, we got a Bible, you know, we got a bumper sticker on the back of my car. So, we don't want people to think that we want to just bust people in the mouth who really get on. I'm sorry. Because, you know, if I talk to a fake people, then we can talk fake. But life is not about being fake. I'm telling you, this is going to tear the roof off the mother. Because God is saying, look, I don't want my people to run around thinking that I don't love them because of the condition that they are in. Nothing will separate them. The reality is that God says, watch this, no matter what your bad hand looks like, when you're willing to bring it to me and stretch it out. Notice the man wasn't healed until he
Stretch it out.
See, you and I really won't be healed from the bad hand until we're willing to. But society tells you,
Hide
hide it. Don't let nobody know that you smoke squares.
Right.
Don't let nobody know that you smoke cigarettes. Don't let nobody know in the church that you are a sex addict. Don't let nobody know that you're addicted to drugs. Don't let nobody know. Because if they know, watch this, that you got a bad hand,
They gonna judge you.
they gonna judge you.
Yeah.
But everybody say this is a good but.
This is so
The same people that judge you, they too got a bad hand.
That's the truth.
As we walk in this year of intentionality, we are going to intentionally say, God, take this bad hand. Watch this. I'm not hiding it. No more.